Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be doing another Jurassic World toy concept video. And this is a video I think I've been asked to do for quite a while. I feel like I've gotten comments for this for a pretty long time. But yeah, I don't know why I just haven't gotten around to doing it until now. But apparently I decided that it would be a good time to do it. And yeah, we're doing a concept for a Mattel Jurassic World or Jurassic Park Chaos Effect line. My idea for this lineup is that it would be kind of similar to the 93 Classic lineup, where it'd be kind of like a limited edition thing and maybe be a Target exclusive or not. It might just still release in all stores, but it'll just be kind of like one lineup. Maybe it'll have one or two waves, which I do want to mention I didn't do every species from the Chaos Effect lineup. I mainly did just the main hybrids plus a few extras. I didn't do any of the regular creatures, but if you want a part 2, or if this video just does well, I'll do a part 2 with like the regular dinosaurs plus probably most, or if not all of the other hybrids and stuff. But I did do most of like the main hybrids. But yeah, this is pretty much just my idea of like a Jurassic World, like if Mattel made a Jurassic World figures of the hybrids. Personally, I don't want just to include more hybrids in the lineup, like the main line. I feel like they should actually kind of make it a special thing, kind of like, again, the 93 Classic line, where it's kind of its own thing. It's still part of the main line, but it's part of its own thing. I kind of don't want them to just be added in regularly, kind of like Indominus and the other hybrids are already. I feel those worked since they were in the movie, and also they don't get figures too often. I kind of don't want to have these just implemented in and taking up space from the other dinosaurs. Just again, I think it would work better as like maybe just a limited edition kind of as part of the reimagined lineup. I think that could be cool to do, maybe for an anniversary or something. I don't know. Anyways, moving on to the first creature, we have Compsognathus, which I think this one actually came out pretty decent. My idea for this one is that pretty much all the small ones are strike attack figures, and even though it's not in the concept, it would probably have pretty much its action feature that it would be able to pretty much stick its tongue out like the original figure, kind of. If not, it would probably just have like a striking bite attack, and maybe just have kind of like the Dilophosaurus, where like they have the venom thing that you can put in their, like the hole in their mouth to kind of make it look like they're spitting venom. Just do that with the tongue. And also, even though I didn't put any capture gear with any of these creatures, they would probably come with capture gear, just because I feel like that was kind of a cool concept to go with them. But yeah, this is my Compsognathus. I used Tyrannosaurus for the tail, plates, and body, Ornitholestes for the neck and head, and then Indoraptor for the arms and legs. Though I used 2 different Indoraptors for the arms and legs, because yeah, I had to get just to get right ones for the images. But yeah, this one I think came out pretty decent. I think the colors came out nice, and just generally it looks nice. What are your guys' thoughts on this one? Anyways, next we have one I forgot to mention. Not all, but a lot of these I did community posts, kind of making shuffled versions of like the design to see if people could guess what they are. And this one is a lot of people guessed this was Tanaconda, which is a hybrid between like Deinonychus and like a canine. And personally, I'm not a big fan of that hybrid. Just the concept of it kind of sounds stupid to me, or at least just boring to me. I'm not a big fan of it. And also, I feel like its design is pretty basic. Maybe if I do a part 2, I'll do a version of it. But I just thought that this one was more interesting. Also, this one, which is actually the Kentrosaurus, which honestly, I thought this was a hybrid with Caprosuchus, but no, it's actually Deinosuchus, I think Spinosaurus, or at least some other thing, and Kentrosaurus. And I just, again, thought it would be fun to do this one instead. Also, I don't think, unlike the Tanaconda, which had a prototype made that never released, this figure, I don't think even had a prototype. I think it just had concept art. And this is the only Chaos Effect creature. I was looking on the wiki when I was doing this, and this is the only Chaos Effect creature I've literally never heard of before. So, yeah, I don't know. Did you guys know about this one? Is this one, like, more recently discovered? I feel like the image was like kind of new. Anyways, I thought it looked kind of cool and thought we could use, like, Caprosuchus as a base. And this is definitely not my favorite concept, but I still think it came out pretty nice. Used Tyrannosaurus for pretty much all the spikes. The shoulder spikes, the back spikes, the horns, and the nose horn. Caprosuchus for the base. Used Indoraptor for the tail. And used some Amargasaurus sails, which are going to be used a lot. Generally, I think this one still is a pretty fun one, though. And probably, again, would be a strike attack figure, so probably just have, like, a button. Maybe you could press down the sails on its back, and it would, pretty much, like, chomp. But, yeah. Next, we have Tanaconda, which this is honestly just probably one of my favorite ones, because I just think it came out really nice. This is kind of what the Tanastrophe should have been from Mattel. But yeah, this one's going to have a pretty simple action feature, just an articulated rubber neck. I feel like everyone wants that for a Tanastropheus figure. I actually technically made a new Tanastropheus design, and then I just added onto that to make Tanaconda, because Tanaconda is literally just Tanastropheus, except it has bigger teeth, and also and also has different colors, which honestly, if I think about it, I think the original Tanaconda didn't even have the well, I mean, it did have the like fangs, but the original Tanastropheus had that too, so there's not really a difference. But yeah, I did decide to give it fangs. I also gave it some sails just because I feel like it needed something else to make it a little bit more different. So yeah, I gave it the sails from the Stegosaurus. Pretty much the body and neck are from the Tanastropheus. The head is from the Ultimasaurus figure, and the tail is actually from, I believe, the Mamenchisaurus, if I remember correctly. So yeah, this is my Tanaconda figure, also another Strike Attack figure. Next we have Tyrannops, which is another one. I'm surprised how many people were guessing that this was like the Omega Rex, I think it was what it's called. One of the two T-Rex they released. And I'm actually kind of surprised how many people guessed this one. Yeah, no, but though a lot of people also guessed there's Tyrannops. But yeah, of course I basically just did the Inostransevia figure. In fact, it probably would have been better if I used my non-edited version, because I did make an edited version of the Inostransevia, pretty much just giving it fixed proportions. And pretty much I kind of undone that a little bit with the teeth to make them longer again, and more kind of like how they are in the original figure. And then I changed the colors, of course, but I'm not gonna lie, I actually really like this color scheme, especially like from the head and neck. And then it felt kind of bland, so I decided to also add some like kind of hair, I guess, quills on it. I thought that would look kind of cool, and I think it actually did kind of come out nice from the Cyclops figure from Rebirth. And yeah, I think it just kind of came out nice. I know synapsids like Gorgonopsids may have had well, I mean, mammals are synapsids, they have hair, but some Gorgonopsids may have had hair. So yeah, I thought it'd be cool to kind of introduce that. And personally, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like this figure more than the Inostransevia we actually got, mainly because though I love that figure, the proportions are really weird. And honestly, Tyrannops is probably my favorite Chaos Effect creature. And personally, I still kind of like the original more, though I still do like this concept. I think it still came out pretty decent, though I wish I could have added more patterns. Next, we have a figure that I think would, again, those were like ones I would want to have as Strike Attacks, and I guess this could also work as a Strike Attack. Though personally, I think this would be cool to kind of have like a one-off kind of wild war-sized creature. And this is Velociraptor. This one definitely varied way more from the original design, because the original Velociraptor is mostly unfeathered, and then it just has like quill feathers in certain areas, which I did kind of put onto the design as longer feathers. And yeah, I also exaggerated the colors because it's mostly tan, but there's just a little bit of red on top, but I kind of extended the red to be most of the feathers. And yeah, I definitely like this design. I think it came out nice, and it's kind of a little bit more accurate, I guess, because Velociraptor, if you really think about it, is just the most inaccurate way of just basically taking, basically the Jurassic Park Velociraptors are inaccurate, then you're adding in Archaeopteryx DNA basically just to make it accurate Velociraptor again, but instead of making it accurate Velociraptor, you just make some sort of weird freak instead. And then after that, I kind of made this concept, which isn't accurate Velociraptor, but still isn't quite what kind of freak of nature the Chaos Effect one, which I'm not even, when I say freak of nature, I mean it in a good way, not in like what I call most of the Rebirth creatures way. But yeah, Velociraptor, I did keep the quills over the hips and on the top of the head, just as more feathers. I got these from the Ankylodon figure. The tail fan, which I forgot to mention, the body, legs, and yeah, I think it's just the body, legs, and I think the neck maybe too, are from the Hand and Clutch and Pyroraptor. And yeah, the tail kind of was already like this, and it just happened to color code over pretty nicely. And then I gave it the arms of the Allosaurus from Rebirth, added more of the Ankylodon quills, and I used that one, I think it was the Epic Damage Velociraptor head for this, and I think that also worked pretty nice for it. Personally, I think I really like this one, though I feel if there's some hardcore Velociraptor fans, they may not like my redesign of it. Anyways, moving on, we have easily my least favorite of all the concepts I did for the Chaos Effect, the Parasaurolophus. In concept, this sounds super easy. All I had to do is like basically take an Indoraptor and then just give it a more Raptor Parasaurolophus hybrid head. And that's what I wanted to do, but it didn't come out very well. You see, turns out, turning a figure that is glossy black into yellow is really hard, because most times it just ends up turning into gold, like a really weird gold color. And I really didn't want that. I wanted it to be more yellow, and it just comes out like this very oversaturated highlighter color. Definitely not my favorite, though I think it came out decent enough. I used the upper jaw from the Atrociraptor figure, and the lower jaw is actually from the Lab Lockdown T-Rex, believe it or not. I kind of just had the jaw on hand. It was like, actually, that works a little bit better. I wanted to have the teeth exposed a little bit more on this figure. And then I used the crest and beak from the Hand Collection Parasaurolophus. Generally, I just think this one didn't come together as well as it could have. And just, again, it's not my favorite. And again, the body is from the Indoraptor, and I think the tail actually might be from a T-Rex. I think it's from the Dino Trackers T-Rex, that little like medium-sized one. I think that's where the tail actually came from, not the Indoraptor, but yeah. Definitely my least favorite. This one would probably be a bigger kind of gigantic thrasher, closer in size to that. Next, we have one that I completely forgot that I even made a design for until I was about to record this audio and realized that the slide wasn't there, so I had to go make that last second. And it's for Stegosaurus, if I remember, that's what it's called. But yeah, pretty much this is another one that actually did get a concept figure, but never actually released. And pretty much pretty much the original figure is just like a Stegosaurus, but really emaciated and skinny with a slightly more carnivorous head. And I see a lot, and if you look up Stegosaurus, a lot of people have made like concept arts of it, and they actually add in like a Spinosaurus sail in between the plates. And I personally thought that was actually a way cooler interpretation. Brings in more of the Spinosaurus elements. This is also one that's not my favorite because it is kind of really weird, though. I think it also really just brings out the hybrid in it. It also, in the posture, looks a lot like an outdated Stegosaurus figure. So, yeah, anyways, I used the head and sail from the Jurassic World Rebirth Tail Thrasher Spinosaurus, which, funnily enough, as I'm recording this audio, I'm actually have my microphone attached to the Tail Thrasher Spinosaurus, because I do that for some reason. But, yeah, anyways, the tail is from the Irritator, the Dino Trackers one, and then, of course, like, the, body and plates and Thagomizer are from the Stegosaurus, but it's specifically the one from the Sarah Harding set. And then the hind legs, I believe, are from the Lab Lockdown T-Rex, if I remember correctly. And then the arms are from the Zuniceratops, the Dino Trackers one. So, yeah, kind of random. Definitely one that came out better than I was expecting. Definitely one that I'm not a big fan of, like, the original figure. But this concept I actually think came out pretty nice. I even used a plate to make a little crest on its head. So, yeah, I think this one just came out pretty decent. This would also be another larger kind of gigantic Thrasher figure. I do also want to mention that a lot of the Chaos Theory figures were really weird since they were not in scale with like the other Kenner figures for some reason, and they were all just really small. So I kind of forget that a lot of the Chaos Effect creatures are like massive, since they're usually just, again, they're shown as not being that big, but like they actually do have descriptions of how big they are, and I believe this one is one of the larger ones. But, yeah. Anyways, back to the other creatures, which I know for you guys it's just another one in this another slide, but for me, I had to go out for that one because I cannot lumped in with the other slides for some reason. But anyways, now we have Ankylodon, which is a hybrid between Ankylosaurus and Pteranodon, and this would be another one that's in the gigantic Thrasher size range. And this one would have the new mechanism for the aerial ambush Quetzalcoatlus, which is what I use for the body and neck. And then I used the that one pterosaur that literally no one is familiar with that looks like Pterodactyl from not Pterodactyl, Pterodactylus from the second wave of the Rebirth Frenzy Pack figures. And I think I used the crest from, honestly I cannot remember which Mattel Pteranodon. There's so many of them, but I used one of the wild raw kind of size range ones. I used the tail from the Hammond Collection Ankylosaurus and the plates or osteoderms on the back from my custom Euoplocephalus figure, which I don't remember where I got the spikes from that from. But yeah, I think this one came out pretty decent. I actually did make a custom Ankylodon, but it looks nothing like this. If I go to the next slide, I also made a variant with a Geostembergia crest just for no reason. Maybe I'll do some more with some other crest variants just for fun. But I thought it could be interesting. I thought some people might like the Geostembergia crest instead. But yeah, anyways. Moving on to the large figure for this series, which would be Amargasaurus, which is a creature, which again, how I mentioned the scaling with the Chaos Effect dinosaurs, I always forget that Amargasaurus is freaking massive. I believe it's like 60 feet long or even bigger. It's like a proper sized sauropod. And personally, I think I would want this figure to be a large sauropod figure, though not as big as the previous ones we got. I think it'd be cool if it was like in between the size of like the Mamenchisaurus / Apatosaurus and the like giant theropods. Like it's bigger than the Hammond Collection Giganotosaurus, but smaller than the Mamenchisaurus. I think that would be a cool size range. I want to get other sauropods in that size range as well. I'll probably, again, do a video covering a lot of creatures that should be in the Jurassic franchise that don't have figures yet. I'll do concepts for that. But until then, this is the medium sauropod I've made. And I think that Amargasaurus could be pretty cool. The things I used for this design, I used the body from the juvenile Apatosaurus to give it that kind of shorter body, because if you look at the actual figure, the body's a little bit more, I don't know, not quite elongated, I guess. More compact, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Anyways, I used the, of course I used the, actually I had to do something horrible. I had to use the Dubious Freak to get the neck, but admittedly, the Dubious Freak has cool colors and patterns, so it worked really well for this. So yeah, I had to use that freak of nature to get the neck. For the head, I used the Hammond Collection Spinosaurus for the neck, and body, I used the Amargasaurus tail. So basically, I just made Rebirth Titanosaurus, except actually good, because instead of being a freak of nature pulled off as a real creature, it's a freak of nature being a freak of nature. That's actually cool, not like the actual freak of nature that are supposed to be freak of natures in the thing. Anyways, I'm going to stop ranting about Rebirth. One thing that I'm not a big fan of on this design is the tail. I tried to do something different. And, I kind of wish I just put, like, the regular, Diplodocus tail on here. I feel like that would have worked a little bit better. Instead, I decided to use the Irritator tail and then give it, like, the Amargasaurus tail going down the back of, like, the tail. I thought it'd be kind of cool to give it more of that, like, Spinosaurus paddle-like tail, though. I think I might do another one with, like, the regular Diplodocus tail at some point, because I just don't think I like how this looks. Maybe I think it just needs to taper out a little bit more and be a bit longer, the tail at the end. But otherwise, I don't know exactly how I feel on it. What's your guys' thoughts on it? I think it could, if the tail was done a little bit better, this concept would be really cool. But yeah, Amargasaurus. Now we move on to the finale and the creature pretty much everyone wants from Mattel to make, and it's the Ultimasaurus. I'm gonna say right now, I really kind of regret not putting more patterns on here, because the Ultimasaurus has a little bit more. First thing, I probably should have just made everything from the neck all the way up to like the entire head being red, but I thought it contrasted a little bit better. But I could have added some more red patterns in some places. And then also, it has a lot, okay, pretty much all of the Chaos Effect creatures have a black outline around their patterns. And I think Mattel should add that on theirs, because I think they do look better in a lot of cases. And I just wasn't able to do that for a lot of these, and Ultimasaurus is one that if I would have worked a while longer, I probably could have worked something out, though I didn't, so, again, I do apologize for that, but it probably should have more colors on it. Outside of that, I think this concept came out pretty decently, especially the head. I used the Lab Lockdown T-Rex, of course, I think that's just the best figure. I used the Hammer Collection Spinosaurus for the arms. Of course, I think the arms could be a little bit better. They just looked a little bit awkward whatever position I put them in, and this is like the best I could get. I just used the leg lockdown T-Rex's legs and just extended them a bit. Gave them the sickle claw from, I believe, the Hammer Collection Tiger Raptor. Gave it the armor from the Hammer Collection Ankylosaurus. Gave it the tail club from the Hammer Collection Ankylosaurus. Used some sort of Stegosaurus spikes. Or actually, that might have been the Triceratops horns. Whatever I used for the Triceratops horns, I think I may have actually used for this Stegosaurus spikes on the end of the club. And then for the head, I used the Habitat Defender Triceratops for the frill, horns. Well, all three of the horns, or I guess four, because it's kind of a double nasal horn. And then also the beak. Honestly, again, this one just came out really good, and I kind of, if you really wanted to make like an more accurate Ultimasaurus, like if we're comparing for the toy line, since again they're out of scale, if you got a secondary or just use your Lab Lockdown T-Rex, you could probably make a pretty good Hammond Collection, or well, not Hammond Collection, mainline Ultimasaurus figure. But yeah, I'm currently working on one of these using the Indominus Rex, and yeah, maybe I'll have to do a consideration getting a second Lab Lockdown T-Rex to make this custom actually real. But again, this is just my Ultimasaurus. I didn't do any of like the other large Rexes, because again, I wanted to mainly focus on the hybrids. If we're gonna do a hybrid lineup, we might as well go all the way in. But yeah, I just didn't want to do like the other large T-Rexes to take away from the Ultimasaurus. I think the Ultimasaurus really needs to be the main thing here. And we have so many T-Rexes, and we can easily get one of those T-Rexes again in the future. While I feel like Ultimasaurus, if we're getting one shot at Chaos Effect lineup, Ultimasaurus should definitely be the main creature here, and nothing should take away its spotlight. So yeah. I also want to mention that I decided to not do any of the any like other hybrids like Jurassic World the Game and Jurassic World Alive, or even like canceled Jurassic World hybrids. If you really want me to do videos on those, let's comment down below and I will consider doing those in the future, I guess. But as of now, I just wanted to focus on the Chaos Effect. And again, if you would like me to do the other Chaos Effect creatures, because again, I didn't do quite a few of them because they were either just regular dinosaurs recolored, or they were just other hybrids that I felt these ones were just a little bit better to include instead, then just comment them down below and I will consider doing a sequel. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. What's your favorite concept? What's your least favorite concept? Is there any issue, like, is there anything you dislike about the concept? Is there anything you like about them? Do you hope Mattel makes any of these species? How would you design them? And yeah, I know that I kind of stylized some of these to make them a little bit more different, though I think some of the changes I did actually did make them look a little bit nicer. Because I feel like if they just did one-to-one recreation of the old figures, they wouldn't be quite as good. Because I feel like the Chaos Effect has a really unique style, and I feel like it has to be changed to some degree to fit the mainline style because it's just so chaotic. But yeah, again, Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I said it 1,000 times. If you want a sequel, just comment down below. And I hope I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!